Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and I'm back today to do another video. Today I'm going to be chatting through my progress so far on the Reading Women's 2021 Reading Challenge. I have so far, as of the middle of July when I'm filming this, completed 18 of the 28 prompts, 24 including the 4 bonus prompts. So I'm feeling pretty good about how much I've completed so far. That does mean I have about 10 prompts left to complete, which hopefully I can accomplish if I guess read about 2 books each month. I do think that some of the prompts that I've left are some of the more challenging prompts that I'm a bit less excited about, but hopefully I still will be able to complete all of them. But I wanted to share the books that I have completed so far as well as the ones that I'm planning on reading in case you need some inspiration, some picking up if you are also working on the challenge and have kind of hit a wall or anything like that. So I'm just going to be going through the prompts in the order that they're listed on the Reading Women podcast's website. I will not be going into a ton of depth about my thoughts on any of the books because I have reviewed all the books that I've previously read elsewhere on my channel, so I'll be sure to link my reviews for all of the books that I've read so far down in the description box below in case you want to check any of those reviews out. Without any further ado, let's just get started. So prompt number 1 is longlisted for the JCB prize, and I did read Latitudes of Longing by Shupangri Swarup. I read this back in January. Then prompt number 2 was to read a book from an author from Eastern Europe, and for that I read Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. This book I read back in April. Then for prompt number 3, a book about incarceration, I read Jesmyn Ward's Sing and Buried Sing. I read this back in June and no longer have my copy because I thought this was just okay. Then for a cookbook by a woman of color, I purchased In Bibi's Kitchen by Hawa Hassan and Julia Turshen. Julia Turshen is white, but Hawa Hassan is not. I think there's a picture of the two of them somewhere. Here's the collaborative team together, and this is a book celebrating foods from the 8 African countries that touch the Indian Ocean, and I originally purchased this for my birthday this year using a gift card that I received from a friend because I studied abroad in Tanzania and have wanted since returning from Tanzania to be able to cook some Tanzanian food, and a lot of the other countries in East Africa in particular have very similar cuisine style that is both like kind of Indian and Middle Eastern and indigenous to Africa. It's a really interesting kind of blend of food, and so I was really excited to get this cookbook, and I have tried a few recipes in it and also kind of read through, and each recipe comes from a Bibi who gets a photograph and like a small interview with them, and then they share a few of their recipes, which I just love that that's kind of the format of this cookbook. So I have like kind of looked through it, not read it cover to cover, but I'm counting it as read for this challenge. And then prompt number 5 was a protagonist older than 50, and for that I read Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. I completed that in February. Then prompt number 6 is the first one that I have not completed yet, which is a South American author in translation, and I have picked up Island Beneath the Sea by Isabel Allende, and I've put this on many a TBR in the past 7 months and have not yet gotten around to it just because it is kind of longer and I just haven't prioritized this one, but I am definitely hoping to read it before the end of the year. Then prompt number 7 is yet another one that I've not yet completed, which is to reread a favorite book. I'm hoping to read Normal People by Sally Rooney again, especially in anticipation of her new book, Beautiful World, Where Are You?, which comes out in September. And I actually have the audio of this one out from the library right now, and if I get the time, I definitely will be listening to this one audio sooner rather than later. So hopefully this one will also be done in the near future. And then prompt number 8 is yet another one that I've not yet completed, which is a memoir by an Indigenous woman. I have picked A Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Elliott to complete this prompt, which is an essay collection by Alicia Elliott, who's a member of the Mohawk Nation, and I am eager to get to this one, but I have not yet gotten around to it. Then prompt number 9 is a book by a neurodivergent author, and for that I've read Talia Hibbert's Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which I loved, and I read this back in April. Then prompt number 10, a crime or thriller novel in translation, I've also not yet read. I have a few options available through my library, so I'm hoping to either listen or read the ebook of any of my options at some point in the second half of the year, but I've not yet completed this one. Then prompt number 11, a book about the natural world. I've read a few of those, but the one I'm counting is Two Trees Make a Forest by Jessica J. Lee, which I read for the Springathon back in May. Gave this 5 stars. Really enjoyed this quite a lot, so I thought it fitting to use this book for that challenge. Then prompt number 12, a YA book by a Latinx author. I listened to Cia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. I listened to this one back in May. Thought it was okay. YA is not really my thing. Then prompt number 13, a poetry collection by a Black woman. Last month in June, I read Ghost in a Black Girl Star by Felisa Ray, which I gave 5 stars. Really loved this. Definitely got me kind of thinking that I might be more into poetry than I actually believe myself to be, which is really exciting. So yeah, really enjoyed this one quite a lot. Then prompt number 14 is a book with a biracial protagonist, and for that I read You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria. I read this back in March, which feels wild to me. I feel like I read this a lot longer ago than that, but I guess I didn't. But I really enjoyed this one as well. Our main leading lady in this book is half Filipino and half Puerto Rican, so I thought that was fun. Then prompt number 15 is a Muslim middle grade novel. Addendum from the future from when I filmed the rest of this video. I actually have read and finished The Girl and the Ghost by Hannah Alka for the Muslim middle grade novel prompt since I filmed this video, and I gave it 3 stars, and I will be talking about this one more in my July wrap up, which should be coming out after this video goes up, so do take a look out for that. Then prompt number 16 is a queer love story, and I only realized after the fact that Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers, which I read back in March, counts as a queer love story. Tiffany is about 2 female women falling in love with one another and about a few other things as well, and so that's what I'm counting for this prompt. Then prompt number 17 is about a woman in politics, and for that I was planning on reading Stacey Abrams' While Justice Sleeps because I was really excited about this book. I was planning on reading it anyway, but then earlier this month, while I was reading Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay by Elena Ferrante, I realized that our 2 leading ladies in here both get involved in a lot of politics, so this is going to count as my like stand-in for this prompt for now until I read While Justice Sleeps, because I do feel like this book kind of counts. That's not like a central tenet of what this book's about, but politics is a very big part of this book, so I thought this book could count for this challenge, and I read this in July, obviously, as I said. Then prompt number 18 was a book with a rural setting, and for that I read How Beautiful We Were by Mbolo Mbui. I read this back in January, really enjoyed it. Have a whole dedicated review for this one up on my channel if you're interested in learning more. Then prompt number 19, a book with a cover designed by a woman. I read Milk Blood Heat, which was designed by Kelly Winton. I read this back in January, and actually since the Reading Women podcast like put this prompt on this challenge, I have become a lot more aware of who designs book covers, and I've realized that many of the books that I've read have been designed by women, which is really cool, but not something that I've all thought about previously. So I appreciate the Reading Women challenge for kind of opening my eyes to the whole world of book designing, as that's not really something I had thought about previously. Then 2 prompts that I've not yet completed, the first one being an Arab author in translation. I'm hoping to read Celestial Bodies by Joga El-Harthi. This won the Man Booker Prize a couple years ago. I've heard kind of mixed things about this one, but I found it for cheap on Thrift Books, so I thought I would give it a try. And also my library has an audio copy of this, so I think I will probably go that route with finishing this one. And then for a trans author, I am planning on reading All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders, which I have a copy of on my Kindle. I've had this for years and years and just have never gotten around to it, so I'm hoping that I will use the second half of the year to complete this prompt and get this book off of my TBR. And then prompt 22, a fantasy novel by an Asian author. I read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I read this back in January and really enjoyed it. Then prompt number 23 was a nonfiction book about social justice, and for that I'm counting The Sum of Us, What Do Racism Cost Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together by Heather McGee, which I talked about in my mid-year book freakout tag. This is probably my favorite nonfiction book that I've read so far this year. I really enjoyed this, and I read this back in February. And then of the main prompts, the last but not least prompt, prompt 24, was a short story collection by a Caribbean author. And for the Caribathon, which happened back in June, I read How to Escape from a Leper Colony by Tiffany Unique. And so I have a whole vlog of me reading this alongside These Ghosts Are Family by Macy Card, which I'll put a link to up in the cards above. I really enjoyed participating in the Caribathon and completing this challenge at the same time. And then for the 4 bonus prompts, I've only completed one of the authors, which I didn't particularly love the book that I completed, so I've been kind of hesitant to jump into the other books for these kind of bonus prompt authors, but I do plan to read them at some point during the rest of this year. So the one that I have completed is Alexis Wright. I read the Swan book with Lindsay from Lindsay's Book Life, and we both thought this was very dense, very hard to kind of get into and understand. But I read this for Aussie April, so I talked about it in my April wrap-up. And then the other 3 prompts, I have 2 books for 2 of the prompts, and then the other one I'll probably get from the library, but I do have a copy of Nervous Conditions by Titi Dankaramba, which I am eager to get to at some point. I also have Leila Abuela's Elsewhere Home short story collection, which I am also excited about, as these short stories sound like they would be something I'd be really interested in. They're about home and placemaking, and especially making a home outside of your home country, so also some themes of immigration here as well. And then for Yoko Ogawa, I will most likely be reading The Housekeeper and the Professor, but I haven't decided yet. She's the last one that I probably will read, and so I've put that decision off until a later time. So I think those are all of the 28 prompts. If you have been participating in the Reading Women Challenge, do let me know down in the comment section below. Additionally, let me know if you had any like standout books from participating in the challenge, or any prompts that are like really kind of causing you pause, or you're having difficulty like figuring out what book you want to read for them. I'd love to kind of chat to you about the challenge down in the comment section below. If you are new to my channel, I'd love to have you stick around and subscribe. I hope you're having a great rest of your day whenever you watch this, and I will talk to you next time.